Hello Year 2, this is an introduction to Christopher Columbus. Now there are some great videos, there's some fantastic resources online to help you to research Christopher Columbus, but I also wanted to do our own introduction because he is a very significant person in history, and as historians we need to think about significant people and events. Okay, so who was Christopher Columbus? Now, Christopher Columbus is an interesting character and it fits in quite nicely with our last topic about the Aztecs and chocolate and Mexico, and you'll see why in a minute. So Christopher Columbus was born he was actually Italian. He began sailing when he was a teenager, and he was an explorer and a navigator. And a navigator is somebody who likes to follow maps, draw maps, find where places are. So that's why you've got a picture of the compass there. Christopher Columbus wanted to find a quicker way to get to places in Asia, and he wanted to do this because he wanted to trade for spices like cinnamon, ginger and black pepper, but he needed money to help him pay for his trips, so this was a good way of making money. Why did explorers want spices? Well, they wanted to help keep food fresh and help to preserve it, to keep it good for longer. So in those days, they didn't have fridges to keep food for longer like we do now. Exploration. Okay, so he needed some money because expeditions to explore other parts of the world were not and are not cheap, even nowadays in our times. So he needed some money. He went to the King and Queen of Spain and they agreed to give him money to buy 3 ships for his voyage. Now, that's interesting because he wasn't Spanish. But the King and Queen of Spain were really interested in finding new worlds and new countries. And as we'll see a little bit later, they wanted things or people from those countries to claim as their own. So they weren't just being kind here to Columbus. They wanted something for themselves out of it. In 1492, Columbus and 90 men sailed on ships that were called the Nina, the Pinta and the Santa Maria. They sailed for 2 months. Right, Columbus, he was a good explorer, but he made a few mistakes with his navigating. So he thought he was going to Asia, but in fact he was going the other way, and instead of arriving in Asia, Columbus landed in an area that today we call the Caribbean Islands. Oh look, quite near Mexico where we know. He named the island he landed on San Salvador. People were already living on the island that Columbus and his crew had first arrived at in the Caribbean. Columbus called the people Indians because he thought he had found an area of Asia called the Indies. Okay, so he thinks he's in Asia and he's not in Asia. We know that because of all of our continent work we did before the holidays. People who are from a certain area or place are called native or indigenous. So when he arrived there were already people who were natives and indigenous because they were already living there. It was their land. Some people incorrectly say that Christopher Columbus was the first person to find or discover America, even though he landed in the Caribbean islands. Yeah, a lot of people do say that he discovered America, and I'm not sure that that's right. Why is it important for us to understand that he did not discover America? Well, the indigenous peoples were already there. It was already their land, so he didn't discover it. It was new to him, but it wasn't new to them. The indigenous peoples were friendly and willing to trade items such as parrots, cotton and spears with the explorer. They did not like that Columbus wanted to claim their land for Spain. Columbus took some of them as prisoners, and he took the prisoners back to Spain with him to become slaves. Oh, right, what is a slave? A slave is someone who is forced to be under ownership of someone else. So slavery is not good. A terrible thing that he did there. Really terrible. Why was it wrong of Christopher Columbus to take the indigenous people as slaves? And why is slavery wrong? So we can't talk about it because I'm on a video, but have a think about it. Actually, let's go back for a second. Yeah, you can't just go to somebody else's land, claim it's your land now and then take people as slaves and make them do what you want them to do. That's not how fairness and equality works, is it? Why is slavery wrong? Well, it's morally wrong because you can't own another person, can you? But unfortunately, in the history of our world, there has been a lot of wrongdoing and a lot of slavery. What happened after 1492? Well, Columbus made 3 more voyages. Now, I don't think we talked about a voyage. A voyage is like a really, really long journey. Okay, so a voyage is not getting in the car and going to Tesco or even flying to another country. A voyage is a very, very long journey that would take you months and months, if not years. So he made 3 more voyages to what was then called the New World. So he called that area the New World. He continued to look for gold, riches and spices, and he also looked for a shorter route or path to Asia. He never ever found one. Columbus is considered a famous explorer because his voyage helped begin a time of great exploration around the world. Yeah, that is true. He returned to Spain with many new foods from the islands like avocados, pineapples, pumpkins and corn. Oh, we know about corn from our last topic. We have avocados and corn in Mexico, don't they? Corn kernels were planted in Europe and they became a very important crop there. Columbus introduced horses, sugar and wheat to the indigenous people he met on his travels. So he wasn't just taking from those indigenous people, he was trading and giving them something back. However, unfortunately, he also brought them new types of disease or sickness to the places he explored. So his men might have had contagious diseases, which means it can be passed on. And there are mentioned a few here. So we've got smallpox, measles, influenza, that means the flu. So they didn't have those diseases until Columbus arrived, unfortunately. Can you think of the helpful things that happened because of the voyages of Christopher Columbus? Can you think of the harmful things that happened because of his voyages? So have a think about that. Those are some good questions there. So he's quite a difficult character, Christopher Columbus, to talk about and to think about because he wasn't always the nicest or kindest or fairest person. And unfortunately, he was a product of that time in Europe where lots of European countries wanted to explore new places, but also explore new places kind of selfishly because they wanted things. So anyway, he's an interesting character. Have a think about some of these questions. Watch some other videos about him, see what facts you can find out. Okay, take care, you two. Bye.